have a great business in Europe. Our brands are phenomenal, and that's the cornerstone of any strong business. That said, we need to innovate faster, we need to build our capabilities, we need to drive out non-value added cost, we need to simplify the business, and we need to improve our systems and processes. Obviously, SAP is the backbone of the systems work that we're going to do over the next 2 or 3 years.
Our SAP solution has been developed to support the Heinz European business and has proved itself to be robust and comprehensive, and that we will be able to build on it continually moving forward.
SAP really looks to consolidate all of our business and IT processes under one system, and we've been able to bring together 50 legacy systems and a number of other systems throughout the business under one banner, which gives us a common data point, gives us a common view of the account structures, and it gives us a very clear integrated decision-making and planning tool, which is something as an organisation we lacked in the past.
All the big firms use SAP, and we're looking to use the same standard set of processes, common good processes across our business to simplify the way we do business.
Through SAP, we'll be able to drive standard ways of working, common data standards, and things like chart of accounts. It's about the transformation of business and IT processes across Heinz Europe.
SAP offers the opportunity now to have all of our businesses operating in one consistent module. This reduces complexity for our employees, it reduces data churn, and it drives benefits for bringing in new acquisitions much speedier and driving the benefits for the business as we move forward.
It's going to give us a lot more visibility of the data within our business, and it's going to help us to make decisions quicker and to make decisions better, and that will help us to focus on the most important parts of the business to really get the performance improved.
There's too many people just spending their time in adding up almost on the back of an envelope on how the Spain results add up with the Polish results and how the payables are exactly done and what kind of invoices we exactly need to send out in one market versus another market. And all these people are focused internally to try to reconcile what we're doing in the different markets with all those different systems. With SAP, it will be just one way of working. We will be standardized. It will be the same in Poland as it is in Spain or it is in the Netherlands. And that is going to make it just much easier for all of us in terms of our processes and how we execute them.
We want one standard process so that we can simplify the business across Europe, and we'll apply that in each of the markets. And the only changes we'll make are things that are required through regulatory or governmental processes. Otherwise, we want one Heinz way of doing business in Europe.
There's a number of key learnings and a number of things that we probably need to take forward in other markets to ensure that we probably do a better job. The key differences I'd probably want to make is giving the business much earlier and much broader ownership of SAP as a business tool rather than an IS or an IT project.
We need to engage with the new business units who are coming onto SAP much earlier. We run workshops with the new business units so that we engage with them and explain to them the benefits of SAP, how SAP will change their business and what planning and preparation they need to put in place.
There was definitely a steep learning curve once Go Live came into play. The difficulties were understanding what it would be like in the real world, if you like, because we only ever did scenarios and tests, and all eventualities can never be covered in that forum.
The training programme that we put people through was quite intensive at the start of SAP when we went live, but since then we've realised that you can only train a certain amount when you go live. What you do need to do is follow that up in the future with further coaching and support to ensure that as users become more competent and understand the system better, they can be helped to use it more effectively.
That's it. Press on that. Press enter.
There were some awareness sessions that we ran monthly, weekly and closer to go live daily. I can't emphasise enough to the teams how important it'll be for them to make sure they engage in these sessions and provide as much training time as possible to their teams.
Within the warehouse, I think the hardest problem was transposing out of one system and moving all the stock into a new system, and we had a few little hiccups with stock appearing in one system that weren't in another system, but it wasn't anything that we can overcome across the period of time.
When you initially put the data in from your legacy systems, there will be some data that is wrong and corrupted and doesn't work effectively in your new live system. We found this particularly with packaging material consumption. But you soon learn to get to grips with this, and you need people within the business that understand how data works and what it really means to SAP. Our business has also had to change, such that we've changed some of the ways that we work to work with SAP rather than forcing SAP to work with our business. This will provide a uniform way of working across the business for the future.
The lessons learned in phases 1 and 2, which we shall ensure that we take forward into phases 3 and 4, are: don't underestimate the level of work that's required in transforming the data for SAP. Don't underestimate the change that the business has to go through. And finally, by working together as one team, we can be successful in the implementations moving forwards.
Well, the SAP implementation was extremely successful in the first instance. In terms of the business cutover, that happened with absolute minimal disruption to the organisation. Unlike many other companies that have implemented SAP in the past, where frankly they've probably fallen at the first hurdle and it's caused all sorts of problems both internally and externally.
The implementations to date have been very successful, and that's because we've used good third-party contributors. We've had a good Heinz core project team that's made up of our internal IT or EIS resource and business resource, and we've had really great engagement from the whole business in terms of getting where we need to and involvement at the right time.
Phase 1 and 2 have been very successful. The implementation for Phase 1 was said to be fantastic by one of our senior managers, Karen Albert, the Chief Information Officer. She'd never seen an implementation go so well.
Engagement of the business at all levels is fundamental to ensure complete ownership of the solution and the ongoing success of the project. This needs to be owned by the business, not by IS. And as evidenced by Scott O'Hara's support and what we've seen by the UK leadership team, this has been a big key to our success in Europe.
The team has done a phenomenal job. In fact, for many of you, you know Tesco in the UK. We got a call from Tesco complimenting us on how well the SAP implementation has gone. And that's pretty unheard of in this industry. It's gone as well as any implementation that I've had exposure to, and I'm confident we'll have an equally successful rollout across the balance of Europe.
The SAP implementation process went really well, and essentially that went down to all the hard work that went in before in terms of the training and the people awareness and getting people on board with the system.
The implementation was very, very difficult, but equally it was quite successful in the sense that we did a significant amount of training up front with the team members. We had the right people in place before go live, and we did as much of the data cleansing before go live as possible too.
Another main improvement that we've come across because of SAP is it's made us integrate, pull together more as a business. We've integrated more with the logistics side of things and with manufacturing especially.
The go live was extremely successful at Telford. People understood exactly what was expected of them, and we did exactly what was required to make it a smooth operation. The sessions went very, very well. People embraced it. They were keen. They were a bit scared at first, but once they got an understanding of what SAP meant for them, here change is easy because people are very positive, passionate and easy to work with. SAP has made a significant change to the way that they work.
The training sessions went very well just after we went live. It took us about a month, maybe 2 months to get everybody up to standard, and then everybody was really confident in their transactions and their job roles. The only time that I have to do any training now is when we have new people coming on site.
We now face a number of challenges, however, in terms of really leveraging SAP to make sure that we get the full business benefit from the huge investment that the companies had to make in it. But in terms of implementation, in terms of getting that business cut over, extremely successful. And actually everyone who was involved in that should be congratulated.
Within SAP, an important part is putting the right information in. It's like the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. It's very true for SAP. If you tell it something wrong, it can't tell you the truth. It will only tell you what it knows, and it only knows what you tell it.
SAP is a business process that operates right across the business. It's in module format, and each module applies effectively to each part of the business.
We specifically use SAP to control all of our material movements and our cost centres. For example, all of our inbound deliveries, our stock control, our stock rotation, our goods out, everything we produce is controlled within SAP.
SAP's used in the warehouse. It gives us complete control from the minute the first pallet arrives on site to the minute the last pallet leaves the site as finished goods. On arrival on site, the purchase order is pumped into the machine and it prints out the labels of the goods that we're receiving. We then use the barcode technology to move the pallets around the warehouse, control where they are, which locations they're put in, and issue them to the production team. SAP has given us complete control of any item anywhere within the warehouse, down to 0.00 grammage of any powder, and we know exactly where it is and what it's been used for at any point in time.
The production personnel stage their materials from the warehouse, then once they've used all their materials on the machines, they book it out on SAP.
We have to set up all the information of the product that's coming into the warehouse. That's done on an initial screen, and that screen has all the information relating to that product. It tells us what the product is, the date it was produced, the best before end date, the batch code. Everything we need to know about that pallet is recorded. As soon as it's scanned, all that information that's relevant to that pallet stays on the system. That gives us complete traceability from that point on.
SAP's brought around a lot of change in our ways of working. We used to have an old bespoke inventory control system called Quartz. We knew the system so well, we also understood how to get round it, and we would usually produce all of our stock and then control all of our materials back in again later and write the waste off and look at variances at that point. Before SAP, we used to waste many an hour trying to trace our material losses. With SAP, we have to do it now at the end of the job, and there's no hiding from it.
It's very important to get your data correct. If you input the incorrect data, it can have a dramatic effect at the other end of the cycle.
Say if we have a defective ingredient that we know about and we want to find out what finished goods that's gone into. With SAP it's a 5-minute job, but in the past it took 4 to 5 hours to try and trace back which products it's gone into.
We as a order management team use SAP on a daily basis. It's heavily used by the team because it allows us to look at orders from all aspects. From the point where orders are placed, they're either EDI'd through, which would be for the multiples, for example, Asda, Sainsbury's, or we get the smaller orders, and again, a lot of these are food service orders, which would be sent through to the telesales team. These orders would be faxed through or emailed to us, and we would manually put the orders onto the SAP system.
SAP within HR allows us to hold all of our employee personal data in one consistent format. It also allows us to hold our organisational hierarchy. Within finance, SAP allows us to operate one standard general ledger, also covers the specific areas of accounts payable, it's paying our suppliers, and accounts receivable, receiving monies in from our customers.
It gives us one system to operate in and to transact in. It gives a common level of reporting for senior levels of the business, which allows us to better understand the way that our business operates. And it also gives a set of common processes at the operations end of the business. So our warehousing operations all integrate effectively, our logistics operations all integrate effectively, and our manufacturing processes are common throughout the business.
Of Carolien van der Landen, of iemand die iets afweegt van de catering voor aankomende maandag. Het maakt me niet uit.
For people who are about to have SAP implemented, I would say that their greatest challenge will be to adopt what the system says, adopt the processes, to move with it, open your minds, don't resist it, don't try and make it local to you, trust it. It works. SAP works, it works everywhere else.
My advice to people in phase 3 is to ensure that adequate training is done in advance, that all scenarios are covered off where possible before you enter that next stage, and that if there are issues, they're escalated timely and responses are given.
I've likened SAP to having a new baby. People tell you what a difference it's going to make to your life, and you really can't comprehend the difference it's going to make until it actually arrives on your doorstep. It just changes your life completely. A lot of areas for better, a few areas for worse, but majority is a great system that will benefit us all in the long run.
I think everybody should look forward to SAP. If nothing else, it takes away any ambiguity. There's no grey areas anymore. Everything's black and white, it's straightforward, and everybody's got to do the same.
I think my message to the people in phase 3 would be to involve your key users and end users as early as possible. Get them on the system, experience with the system, and that will just build up the confidence, and you'll find yourself having a much easier implementation.
And it's a good system. If you use it properly, it's strict. It's a good system, but if you use it properly, it'll work for you.
You need to check all the time. You have to be so careful. Even if you enter a digit incorrectly, it has a dramatic effect on the next stage of the process within SAP.
At the beginning, very difficult. It gets easier as you go on. You just get to learn the system. The learning curve gets better and better. You get to know the system better, what it's expected to do in the background.
Don't be afraid of the system. It is very scary at first. The screens are very busy, but once you push through that, you'll see the benefits, and it's a really good system.
People should be looking forward to this next phase. It's exciting and a big opportunity for the business.
There's nothing to be frightened of changing onto SAP, but at the time it does seem quite scary.
SAP is the solution moving forward. Embrace the change and maximise the benefit that we as a corporation can get from it.
My message to new sites changing onto SAP is to make sure you get involved throughout all levels of your site. Make sure the senior management's involved, the middle management's involved, the end users are involved. They need to understand how SAP works, they need to be able to understand the transactions that's required, and most of all, they need to follow the rules that they will be told during the implementation period.
The biggest two priorities for the business are really, first of all, driving the turnaround of the business, both top line sales performance and bottom line profit performance. The other challenge is to simplify the business so that we can be more focused on achieving those turnaround goals. It's really important that everyone in Frozen and Chilled plays their part in the successful implementation of SAP. SAP is going to cut across our entire business, so everybody is going to be touched by it. So as well as ensuring that we can work successfully with SAP to achieve our business goals, we also have to make sure we can deliver SAP alongside all the other programs that we have in the business in the coming year.
You have to embrace SAP to get it to work. And if you don't embrace SAP, you'll find everything you do very difficult. But SAP is fundamentally an integrated tool that will make your life easier.
SAP is going to be a major project for the Frozen and Chilled business, and it's something that will touch everybody in some way. What I'm really looking for is for everybody to be focused on achieving the key goals for SAP alongside the other priorities that we have in the business, because it's a critical enabler for our future business success.
Continental Europe needs SAP because currently it's a mess. We have too many non-integrated systems, business systems. I think we've even had 5 or 6 different business systems are not connected, not integrated at all.
Tak, jest bardzo ważne, żeby każdy w firmie się zaangażował w SAP-ie. To jest system, który dotyka prawie każdą działkę naszego biznesu, od produkcji przez sprzedaż do finansów. I to, co my włożymy w ten system, to potem z niego wyciągniemy. Czym bardziej się zaangażujemy, tym lepszy będzie efekt.
SAP poprawi nasze standardy pracy, zapewniając, że jako firma będziemy zdolni do szybkiego reagowania na ciągle zmieniające się potrzeby naszych klientów i konsumentów oraz zapewni nam sukces w realizowaniu długofalowej polityki wzrostu. SAP powinien zapewnić też nam przejrzystość w procesie koordynacji dostaw od planowania poprzez produkcję aż do wysyłki do klienta.
Dlaczego SAP jest tak ważny dla Heinza w Polsce? Dlatego, że chcemy być najlepsi i najlepsza firma to musi mieć najlepsze produkty, najlepsze ludzie i najlepsze systemy, żeby wygrać z konkurencją. I SAP jest tym najlepszym systemem. Dla tych ludzi, którzy mają SAP-a w przyszłości i nie mieli z nim do czynienia do tej pory, to myślę, że muszą się przygotować na dużą pracę, ale jeśli tą pracę wykonają, to będą mieli bardzo dobre narzędzie pracy potem.
One of the challenges we have with any initiative or project that we implement is resources. That said, we can leverage the learning we have from our UK experience, which has gone phenomenally well, to help us drive that process across the balance of Europe.
We need to ensure that the business processes, data, and supporting systems continue to be robust and fit for our business. We look at the European business as setting the stage for the future with the success of the implementations thus far and moving forward.
In future, as more sites join us, we have to be more integrated in our approach to making changes and making improvements. It's very important that all sites, as they join SAP, begin to understand this so that we can move forward together and evolve with SAP for a better future.
I think any site taking on SAP should welcome it with open arms, be positive, be happy about it. It'll help you control your costs and know exactly where all your materials are at any point in time.
The next phase of the project implementation will be taking the design that we've already implemented into existing sites. What we'll do is roll that in a staged approach, site by site, using groups of sites at the same time and moving faster and quicker in order to make sure that we're efficient, take less time on the business, as well as reduce cost.
The expertise that we've developed during the earlier phase of the project will help us as we drive forward into phases 3 and beyond in Europe.
So we start in Poland, and then after that we come with Northern Europe, the old Northern Europe, which means Scandinavia and the Netherlands. And because the Netherlands is tied with Germany, we will combine that as well. And then as the last stage, we do Spain, France and Portugal. These will really be only done in fiscal year 10, I believe. Poland will be done in fiscal year 08, and the Netherlands and Germany and the Nordics will be done in fiscal year 09.
I think we'll view SAP in the future as a tremendous success, and I think we'll look back to the days before SAP and wonder how we spent so much time trying to work out what the information actually was and what it was telling us, rather than working on how to use the information to improve our business.
It gives me a lot of encouragement, a lot of confidence to know we have the right platform from a systems perspective to enable us now to really grow the business as we move forward.
Whether it's just the touch of a computer screen, whether it's an end-to-end business process, whether it's being aware that your colleagues, your employees, your friends are being impacted by the project, this will change everything in your business to some extent for better.